And we won't actually start the recording just yet, but just letting everybody know we're gonna go live here in just a second.
Okay.
Because it's 6:30 and it's 6:31, so we're late,
Yeah,
just
we're
like
late. It's
just
your
like
fault.
normal.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the running joke is we start at 6:30 ish because we're never right on at 6:30.
That's good because my husband says if you're not early, you're late, and I'm like, well, then I'm always late.
There's that saying, don't meet me there, beat me there.
Yep.
It's like, oh man,
That was very much a
Early-
construction thing.
yes.
It was
Early is on time is late.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, it's funny. The higher up you get in construction, the less
That's
it matters.
bullshit.
When
Yeah,
you're the new guy, you are on site 15 minutes early with donuts.
Exactly.
But by the time you're the foreman, you're like, whatever, man. I'll be there sometime this morning.
My new PE's there at 5:55 every morning. I'm assuming because I'm coming in at like 6:20,
I'm assuming.
6:30. Like, hey man, what are you working on? You know? Oh, I was waiting for you to come in. All right, well,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, that's how it is on construction sites. The higher up that you are, the less important.
I've earned it. I've earned that.
I like that. You know, it might be fitting for here too in manufacturing because we start at 5. I don't start at 5.
Try it.
See, what you
Yeah,
do is
just,
you always put ish at the end of 5-ish, and what that
Ish.
means to you is something different. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Jose, you want to verify that we are live? It looks like we are live.
We're live.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to drive traffic to. We'll talk about hellwigproducts.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And is there anything else, Melanie, that you want us to plug or talk about?
No, I think those are all the spots. Yeah. We're also on LinkedIn. If you might have said that though, and I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Business Facebook.
Yes, you're very active on LinkedIn. I was gonna bring that up without sounding like a stalker, but you're very active on your LinkedIn account.
I've been working on it. So
Every time I mention like, oh, very active on this, I see your post on this. All these guys are like cyber stalker, creep.
Well then I'm stalking too. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, horse trainer is in there. Betty White is in there. How you guys doing? Perry G's there. All right, we're starting to get people log in.
And it's not the real Betty White, just so you know.
Yes.
R.I.P. Betty White.
Yes.
Maybe it is. I don't
I've
know.
never seen him and Betty White in the same
I know.
spot at the same
You
time.
guys,
Just
she
saying.
might be showing up.
Yeah.
So
They say she died, but you know, I don't know. Maybe not.
We'll see.
Does anyone really die though?
Okay. It's
All right,
too
here we
early.
go. Let's
too early.
wait till
It's too
after
early.
we interview.
Yes. Let's not
Melanie.
scare her off already.
oh, my connection's bad. Does anyone ever do that?
She's already doing the.
Yeah.
It hasn't even started yet.
Surprisingly, Melanie, we have never had anybody just cut out. Like we've
Could be a first.
as
If
much.
she did that and just went, you're breaking.
I'm in a
you're
tunnel.
breaking up,
I'm in a tunnel.
and then click off. That would be all classic.
We could see you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I can see you. It's your mouth moving.
All right. All right, we ready to get this thing started?
Do it.
All right, you ready?
I'm in.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it is 6:30 on Tuesday night. We are live on YouTube on Tuesday nights as we usually are, and we are joined tonight for some reason by Melanie White from Hellwig Products. How are you doing tonight, Melanie?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, that's a really surprising.
believe-
Yeah,
I
I don't.
believe her.
Look, she spent a good
I think she's being
15,
honest.
20 minutes with us at SEMA, and she still agreed to come on this show. So either someone in her organization was like, "You have to do it," or
Yeah.
Is the bet gone wrong? Yeah.
So for those of
You had to Rochambeau somebody. to see who's gonna be on.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys remember though how I sent the email over? After SEMA?
we did have a bunch of back and forth after SEMA trying to get this scheduled, and then we had it scheduled, and then I was traveling for work, and then you were traveling, and you're all over the place, which I do want to talk about because you are extremely active in the automotive community. We talked earlier about my cyber stalking you on LinkedIn and seeing all the stuff that you're doing. We'll talk about kind of your background. So for those of you that aren't familiar, Melanie is the CEO of Hellwig Products. You can find all of Hellwig Products at hellwigproducts.com. They are on Facebook. They are on Twitter. They're on Instagram. They're on YouTube. They're on LinkedIn. They are everywhere as Hellwig. We have interviewed Mike from Hellwig 3 times, maybe.
You know, he also recommended, or we tried that candy from that Freddy's place, and I bought a giant bag. Eddie's World.
Yeah.
No, not plural, just singular.
Eddie World. Yeah, it's just one Eddie.
Okay. I still bought 2 giant bags of that candy and finally finished it off last week. So thanks. It was Mike, right? Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. So
Delicious.
You guys have always been very gracious.
Oh, and hold on, very important. I saw Bill Walton there, like the Bill Walton. You were there.
I remember.
Right.
I remember.
We were
yes.
there.
Okay,
yeah. But I don't know how that pertains to this specific conversation.
I just remembered. I was like, oh my God, Bill Walton was there.
So you guys have always been gracious with your time. We appreciate it very much. Going back to like our conversation at SEMA. We just happened to walk by the booth, have a conversation with Mike. You and I had a little bit of a conversation after the fact, and that conversation really made me like, I want to have you on the show to talk more about kind of your background and where you're at today as the CEO of Hellwig. So let's start with that. Let's start with the years ago, young Melanie growing up in a world where the automotive industry was just around you at all times, right?
You know, I actually was not like really in the automotive aftermarket until I was employed in it. It was, you know, we did a lot. We traveled, we dirt biked. My dad didn't have any boys, so, you know, he got us all on dirt bikes. I have, there's 4 girls in my family. And so we did a lot that way, but we never, I never really knew about the industry until I was in it. And then once I was in, I was hooked. Man, there's just like so much passion. It's so much fun. We make cool parts. So I couldn't get out of it after that.
So prior to getting introduced to the industry, though, were you like, I'm going to be a veterinarian? Like, what did you think you were going to be before you became the CEO of Hellwig?
Well, so I'm a little bit nervous to tell you guys what I had in my career path at one point. So I went to school, and I was going for psychology is my main degree, and then I have a minor in business.
Nice.
So I was going down the marriage and family therapy route. I was going to get my degree in that, and then I started cold calling and got into the industry. And this is so much more fun. I'm so much happier doing this, but it makes me a little bit nervous to tell people that. I'm very interested in psych.
So then stay on the call afterwards. I'm going to need some help. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I think we can all use
just
a good talking
to. You just got yourself 4 side jobs. I'll tell you right now, because we need as much help as we can possibly get at this point. You know what I find interesting about that, though, is psychology, even if it's not applied in the actual therapy or counseling of people, the study of psychology in the human brain and how people think and work is applicable to everything, especially leadership, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a little bit. But the ability to ascertain what drives people to be successful and then figure out how to provide that to them, it has to help in your day-to-day life today.
It does, right? I think the thing that helps the most is I'm really interested in people. I want, people to be happy. I want to challenge people. And that is something that, because of that, my interest in psychology, and then also my interest in my job here at Hellwig and leadership, people matter, right? We don't do this alone. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me, is that I love the community around me, and I just so appreciate it. I work with a stellar team, and that makes a huge difference, right? So I think that that interest in people and relationships is really what drives me.
That's I think that's
working with a stellar team. Like, I wonder what that's like. Everybody's
what is that like, guys?
Dragging me down.
I work with these guys, so it's that's the best.
That's what I was referring to. Like, good. Jeez.
I mean, you guys are so fun. I've been looking forward to this for a long time because you guys just have so much fun together.
See the training
it's
right there.
Reverse psychology. She's making us feel good about ourselves.
She's letting us put our guard down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So
start slaying us.
These are the droids you're looking for.
So you going back, you said that you started at Hellwig just doing cold call, like B2B sales, right?
Yeah, I did. So I right after college, I managed a French gourmet bakery. So I was in the food industry for a while, and I was like, oh, but these hours are not for me. Work really long, really hard hours. And you can get called in at any point. And I'm like, I don't want to do this for very much longer. And so I had like a salesperson that would come in and call on the bakery that I was working at. And I was like, I want her gig. Like, she comes in like boss hours, like right what we were talking about, like later in the day, not the 5 o'clock shift. She comes in at like 10 o'clock to, take my order. And I was like, I want to do what she's doing. And so I got really interested in sales. And I started to look for jobs in that field. And then Hellwig needed at the time an outside salesperson. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So that's how I got started. And it was cold calling. And man, does cold calling teach you something? I remember thinking like, oh gosh, I'm cold calling. This is awful. And I think if that is the way that you should start in any sort of business, you shouldn't get the easy path, because it taught me like I needed to show up and be prepared all the time. I needed to like be really interested in the success of my customer. I had to follow up. Like follow up is like so key in sales, and just taking an interest. Like they were all like so different. But man, there were times where, because I was young, like that really wasn't helpful. I was young, I was female, and coming into these places, I mean, I remember like I lived an hour away from one call one day, and I just like I cried the whole way home, and it's like, what the hell am I doing? And but what it did for me, that like I definitely have had plenty of what the hell am I doing moments, but in those moments I was like, oh, okay, this is how I need to deal with it. Like I need to come in with a stronger presence. Like I don't need to like let these guys bully me around. And so it just made me get better. Right. And it's all of that stuff that I like apply even today, thinking about that. Like I show up way more prepared because of my cold calling days.
Just so you know, I drive home crying like on a regular basis, so don't feel bad about that. I think that's normal.
That's a normal thing.
Yeah, that's would you once you pass 46, 47, it's just you wake up crying.
I started crying.
Then, at 49,
that way, awesome.
I got a jump start. I started crying like
all the time.
41. I started crying
all the time. I've been crying for years. So this kind of touches on something we talked about a little bit at SEMA. So as a female in a predominantly male industry, I feel like, and I'm going to use my experience in air conditioning, I feel like the women in sales in the air conditioning industry that I've either worked with or had work for me are always more prepared, more knowledgeable, more engaged, more like they probably had a similar experience to what you had early on and went, okay, I've got to show up and I got to knock it out of the park every single time. And it almost becomes just a standard operating procedure for them in their day-to-day work, as opposed to
SOP.
SOP, correct. It's an SOP.
Sorry.
And as their normal like mode of operation, whereas I'll admit it myself, as someone that's done sales, been like, I don't know, I'll call them today, whatever. Like it's a very different mentality. And would you agree with that assessment?
100% I do agree with that assessment. And I think about that. I actually don't have another female in a sales role, but I do have a lot of like women on my team. When I came to work at Hellwig, I was the third woman working in the company at the time. And so it was like very male dominated at work in the day-to-day, right? Too. And it's very different. It's like almost flip-flopped here in the office now.
And it's interesting. My wife spent several years in the tire industry. Again, male-dominated industry. She's in marketing, and from an outsider's perspective, a woman doing marketing is just someone that draws pretty pictures. And like I think I told you the story where she was in a meeting with sales. She's director of marketing. She's in a bunch of in this meeting, and some guy was like, "Sweetheart, do me a favor, take some notes." And she's like, excuse me? Like, I'm not, who are you? It was like one of those, and she told me about this, and I was like, man, that's something that well,
I just want to say, like, my PE, I do the same thing. He's a 24-year-old guy, and I go, hey, sweetheart, can you just take some notes right now?
You just call everyone sweetheart.
Sweet cheeks.
That's exactly how you have to do it. And then you go, damn, I got to call everybody sweetheart for a couple of weeks at least to cover up that.
Yeah, you're like opportunity sweetheart.
You're like Chandler. Yes. You're like Chandler on Friends.
I'm not saying it's okay. Yeah. I'm just saying that's how you got to gloss it over.
But I guess part of that conversation is about the differences in perception for women coming up in a male-dominated industry, and the challenges they have to come without going into full detail about all that stuff. There's a significant difference in the way you have to show up versus where maybe somebody else does.
For sure, and honestly, though, like. So we have stories, right? I've got stories where like I'm the one presenting and the gentleman's asking, and I shouldn't call him a gentleman. The guy is asking the person on my team, right, who is a male, and I'm answering and I'm doing all of the talking, but he like can't look at me, and it's and I think that's like, but the thing that I'm seeing is that's few and far between. There are outliers. There are assholes like all over that, and you can like really like, I'm going to choose to pay attention to them or not. And I just okay, you're not worth my time, right? Like that's I'm not going to ever convince them.
Yeah.
And so they're not my people. I love
that.
I do think is like it has been being female in this industry, like there's a bunch of dudes at an event and I get remembered. They might not remember my name, but they remember I'm the girl from Hellwig, right? Because I look different. I sound different than everyone else there. And so for me, I did have to like, reframe it for myself, because at one point I was like, this is so hard, and one of those other days like driving home of like, I have a choice here, right? Like I can cry my way home or I can be like, oh, I'm gonna reframe this to be like, I get remembered. Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna use that to my advantage.
Well, I also want to go back to what Cody was saying. You probably also get remembered for your being prepared and extra studious or whatever to speak to whatever it is, like, because that comes, I think for me, that comes across first. Like, when somebody that, especially if I have questions and you have the answers or you can speak to things, that's the first thing that comes across, at least for, I think for most people.
Yeah. And I think it's funny, like I've been on sales calls with a female salesperson that worked for me, sitting there having conversations and having a head of facilities for a large campus look at me and ask me questions. And I go, oh, help! Yeah, ask her. I just drove like that's. She's running this ball game, man. I have nothing to do with it.
Where am I?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for you, right? Like, thank you for doing that, because there are plenty of times where that is happening, and the male like takes the credit, or like you of course know what's going on, I'm sure.
For sure.
Right? But you're giving her more credit. So thank you for that.
So let's back up a little bit and talk more about the progression from cold calling and getting kicked in the teeth every day, because that's what cold calling is. That's what sales call, especially at the beginning, is just getting kicked in the teeth every day, and you have to come in accepting that. And then from there, what was the next role?
Yeah, so when I was cold calling, I realized like, oh, people don't really know we're still like, we've been in business since 1946, so a really long time. So when I was cold calling, when I was making sales calls, people were like, oh, Hellwig's still in business? And so I realized that Hellwig needed some significant marketing presence. So that I did everything that I could to learn about that. Took all of the courses. So I filled the marketing role for a while. So I was marketing manager. And then, so I did that role for a long time. So this is where I did the role for like a year, and then I asked for the position. So that's like what I've done my whole career is I've like, oh gosh, okay, like we need like a sales plan. We need all of these different things. So I've like filled that position, and then been like, hey, I'm doing all of this work. I need the title to go with it. And so I have done that my whole career all the way to CEO. I was like, hey, I'm setting the strategy. I'm doing all of this. So like, I need the position to, the title to go with it. So it's interesting. And I think like being a part of a family business or a smaller organization, I was able to do that, right? I was able to see like a need within the organization and then go fill the position and then ask for the title to go with it. So, but it was just never really like handed to me. So yeah, but it also made me think I was grumpy about that for years, that I always had to like work that like that. But I also like, I'm super invested and I'm really good at all of those jobs because I did them. So, and it wasn't handed to me.
But asking is also, it's good because even if you don't get it, it shows them that you're already thinking about the future. It shows them that you're invested in the company, and they'll most likely always be like, fine, this person's invested in us. Mm-hmm. Let's take the time to train them up the right way, and then we'll give them that position eventually.
Well, and to add to that, as she elevates in her career, she can look at the sales role, the marketing role, the this role, the that role, and go, okay, I have some actual knowledge in how to do that. And here's a tip, kids, for those of you that want to.
No kids listening.
Okay. Hopefully, there's no kids listening to this. Let's pray. Here's a tip for your kids that are listening to this.
There you go.
Like that.
Tim's on there.
Okay, so here's a tip, immature people. That's a very good piece of advice. Do the job, then ask for it. I have had people in my career that say they want this promotion. And I'll say, I've tried to give you the responsibility to do some additional stuff. You don't want to do it. I'm not going to do that unless I get the title I'm going to get paid. You haven't proven that you can do it. How am I going to have confidence to give you that role until you start, showing the initiative? I 100% agree with that fact that if you
sound like a Gen Xer right now, or
I'm 100% a Gen Xer right now.
Yeah.
I'm a Gen old as crap right now. That's what I am. I'm
almost,
a crotchety old. Get off my goddamn
boomer,
lawn.
Almost
get
boomer.
off my goddamn lawn. So, but it's serious.
So what age do you turn when you're like, get off my goddamn lawn? Because I'm like really close to that too.
That was like, you don't have a lawn.
Oh, okay. Look, Matt and I are both.
For me, it was like 22. It was like, you know what the problem is with this neighborhood? Is there's other people live here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So Matt and I are really close to our senior citizen discount. We are waiting for that. So that's.
I don't know if I'm excited about it or super depressed.
I know. But it's true.
I'll be honest. I'm super depressed.
Yeah. It's true though. Seriously, like somehow taking additional initiative, taking on additional roles, and you have to look at it in a way that if the company doesn't give you that role, well, guess what? You can put that on your resume and go get that job at the next company, right? So I love the fact that you said that, because I've always believed in that mentality in the growth in your careers. Take on the challenges, do the role, and then go, hey man, I've been doing it anyways.
That's how you get that experience. That's the way to look at it. Because, like, hey, you're giving me this opportunity to do these things. I'm not, maybe I'm not. It's in my role, everyday role. But thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and take this, and then after a certain amount of time, hey, remember how I was doing this really good? I would like to get paid for this on a regular basis. Yeah. Or
I'll go
I can now take the skills you allowed me to get paid for and take them elsewhere.
So inside sales, marketing, then what?
So I I was vice president, and then president, and then CEO. I also became an owner in 2019.
Oh, wow.
So October 2019, I became an owner, and at 51%. So we are woman-owned certified. And so we've gone through that process. But in 2019, late in the year, I took on the position, right? And then what happened in early 2020, I was like, what the hell did I do?
I was just going to ask. Like,
oh my
They
gosh.
set you up.
Yeah. It said, like, we put a woman at CEO, the economy tanked.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh man, it was we had plenty of challenges, and it's the last few years have not been boring in business. I was talking to someone and they're like, well, you got all of that crap out of the way. I'm like, all right, that's a way to reframe that for sure.
Well, so I'll take a different approach at it. So if you were a seasoned old school CEO and the pandemic hits,
You still wouldn't know what to do.
One, you wouldn't know what to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
And two, you would probably take that, well, we're just going to weather the storm. We've done it this way for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
You came in as someone fresh with new ideas, the ability to pivot, and
How do you know she didn't just go with
because I can tell.
Look
I can,
this is how I'm
I
going to
can
do it. This is
tell.
how my dad
Yeah.
did it.
She's
I mean, I said get off my goddamn lawn.
She's a
so,
Jedi.
yeah.
She knows
Yeah.
Jedi mind tricks,
Okay.
dude. She was trained in the Jedi
Okay.
arts.
Well, that's true.
But
No.
my point
Yeah,
being,
you're right though. We were doing like I was working 16 hours a day, but it was because we were going like pivot like constantly, like
Yeah.
okay, this is what we can get away with today. We're gonna do that. Like this is what we need to do to be able to run all of our operations. Because there was like these weird pockets where you're like, am I essential? Shit. Okay, I gotta go do the research. And then you're like,
yeah.
oh gosh, do I only run essential parts of my business? It's like, well, I don't have enough of that to keep us busy, so I have to run it all. And so there was just like we were working through all of that crap, and it was pretty interesting.
I remember that time specifically at work. So I work for a rather large mechanical contractor. We're doing work at a big hospital, and they sent us out like certificates. Like you need to go to work. Like if you get, and that was the assumption. Like, do I have to have it on my passenger seat in case I get pulled over?
it's like,
How crazy is
That's
this?
what I did. I wrote
How crazy was that, right? We gave printouts to all of our team members.
we had them
so
too.
They got pulled over.
We did. We get all of our technicians had that same letter on our letterhead. Here's our license number. We've been deemed essential by XYZ code because it was some
we had diplomatic immunity. See,
I
you're
just
speeding,
wrote
sir.
all that stuff on some college rule paper. I just wrote it myself. I am essential.
Yeah, Casey said it's essential that I get to buy beer on Friday, so I'm going to show up to work.
I laminated mine, just so you know. Like,
Yeah, so did we.
And
Oh,
on the
I
back,
but I did it myself,
Okay.
Jose.
With tape.
We had a laminating machine. So
See?
I don't mean to brag.
So what was that timeline? When how long from day one when you started in sales to becoming the CEO? Like how long was that time period?
Yeah, so it was about 15 years before. Yeah.
Okay, that's
And actually, like before I became an owner, right? So then, if I back up a little bit, I was in the role at least a couple years before I became an owner. So yeah, so 13
But I think
years.
that's super important because in that time, you probably saw a lot of different things in the business. You obviously had your hands on a lot of different components of the business, functions of the business, to where you weren't just coming in at the top level and having to figure out all those things. You had all the knowledge and history of the organization coming into that role. Did that help?
Yeah, it helped tremendously, right? And to weather the storm that we were facing in 2020 and all the different things we've been dealing with now, for sure, that made a huge difference. But can I tell you a story?
Absolutely.
So I'm family, I'm fourth generation, right? So but I have this like allergy to being like, I'm family, like, so I really love the way that like I grew up in the company, because like no road was paved for me. Like I earned credibility with my team. Some of them like worked with my grandpa. So worked for my grandpa, worked for my dad, and now work for me. So they've gone through quite a different transition. So I used to make sales calls with other salespeople, and this was my first time. It wasn't my first time, but I had done this, but no one really knew. I've been Melanie White. I married my high school sweetheart, so I've been White forever. So I was riding around with someone, and all day, like they were like, "How'd you get in the industry?" Like it kind of didn't make sense to them, so they like kept asking questions, right? And so like 7 hours into our like riding around together, he goes, "What's your maiden name?" And at that point, I'm like, crap, I can't lie at this point. Like I have to tell the truth.
Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Samsonite.
So eventually it's gonna come out, right? That I'm family, but I just like I was so allergic to anyone thinking that I like got this role because I was family that I would like hide it. So it didn't help to do that. I would just say be authentic because like I had totally lost trust in this person, which I then had to gain back.
Yeah.
But like then they're like, well, you weren't upfront about it. So what else are you like hiding?
Oh yeah.
So I that was my one and only time that I did that, but it was like, oh, I can't get away with that. So I just had to earn it on just being me.
Yeah. Yeah. Story on the same vein. I used to be really close with a family. The wife owned an electrical company, and she had a son. And the son came up and had random jobs. He was a bartender. He was in a warehouse, whatever. And he wanted to come to work for the company. And she said, great. We need some installers. You can start. And he said, absolutely not. She says, what do you mean? He's like, if I come to the company.
I'm VP now.
I'm management.
Yeah.
I'm part of the family. I'm management. And she said, I started making cold calls and working in the office doing the finances. If you want to be part of this business, you'll start at the bottom. He absolutely refused to do it. And she went, then you don't work for me. And as far as I know, he never went to work there. And the thing was, like, all he had to do was show up, earn some credibility in the field, step into an office job, earn some credibility there. In 5 to 10 years, he would have owned that company. But he refused to do it.
Let's be honest.
Yeah,
two years max.
Yeah.
He'd have been like, look, what else do I got to do?
It could have been either way. It could have been either a real short time or a real long time, just to make him earn it.
I have the exact same story where I was like the number one foreman, and you know what, so and such is going to come out and he's going to be your apprentice. This whatever, and at that time I already voiced like, hey man, I'm trying to get out of the field. I want to start doing estimating or whatever. Oh, okay. And then he's going to put his son-in-law with me. And I'm like, oh, God. I already knew that kid. I had already been talking trash about this kid for a year and a half. Like, there's no way. There's no way this guy. He was like a.
That's why he did it. Yeah. He paid you back.
He was a greeter at Olive Garden. Like,
what's wrong with that?
Yep. Now you're getting into construction. Like, it's just a different. Yeah. It's a different animal. And so I told my boss, and I was very friendly. Like, we played softball and stuff like that together. I'm like, please don't do this to me. Like, honestly, like, and he's all, dude, don't treat him any different than anybody else that new hire or whatever. Just, I trust you.
Man, he gave you the green light.
And well, that was the green light. And so day one, it was like a truckload of spiral pipe, ductwork that had to be unloaded. There's literally nothing else he can do. He has no experience other than being 21 years old, and you can carry things.
Yeah.
So I just told him, start unloading that truck. He whined to his mom like that I was mistreating him, and I hated him and all these other things. And it was exactly the things that I knew.
True.
Yeah. I didn't hate him, but I did dislike him. But what else am I supposed to do? And sure enough,
like him.
Like he didn't make it 3 weeks. He cut out, and then after like a year and a half, I ended up moving on, and I've since then touched base. Like, oh, how did someone such? Yeah, he's management now. Like so it was like, oh, like, he did not 100% gain that experience and understand like what the family business was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, so as
I still hate him.
I know. As you've come up in the business and now taken over the reins, how has that experience that you had prior to becoming the president and the CEO shaped the way you make decisions today?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think it like filters into like everything I do, right? Because I know these like intimate parts about like the business because I was so close to them. And so yeah, I couldn't say like, oh, well, this is the exact fabric, right? Because there's when you do something and you do it well and you like really like dive into it, like it almost like becomes a part of you, like your cells. And I think that's where like it then can like influence me to make better decisions for the company for sure.
Yeah, and I can imagine that that legacy of information and you knowing that we've had this customer for I remember calling on that customer, like that shapes the way you make difficult decisions and how are we going to treat this customer and do these things. And I think there's value in that is something that you can't really quantify, right? I mean, that's an experience that it's hard to quantify. So as you've come up over the last 15 years or so in the automotive industry, what has been your favorite part about just the automotive industry as a whole?
Oh, the people for sure. I mean, I get to hang out with people like you guys, right? And
no one has ever said that. No one has ever said that.
Sorry, your check is in the mail.
And but like you guys are so passionate about what you're doing, and it's so fun to be around people that like what they're doing. And I think that's a big part about this industry is people like what they're doing. And so that once I got a taste of that, I was like, oh, I don't want to be doing anything else. So
it is very interesting. The automotive / motorsports world is typically filled with people that participate in automotive / motorsport stuff in their spare time as well. You know what I mean? It's not very often you find someone that's like, it works for an off-road company that's like, yeah, I don't feel like going outside.
Yeah, but their company touches upon different areas of motorsports, not just like one specific.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm just saying in the industry in general.
It's kind of cool. She gets to see all the different groups of people that
and
partake in this industry.
Not only motorsports, if I'm correct, I mean, the stuff that you guys are doing crosses all types of motorsports / off-roading / commercial applications. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some military applications in there. You don't have to say anything. We don't get in trouble. But I mean, you're
unless it involves aliens, then we want
to know. Yes. If you were supplying anything to Area 51, we need to talk offline.
Fair.
But I mean, you guys are touching all different aspects of automotive in some way or fashion, correct?
Yeah, we are. And I think that's the fun part about what we do, because it isn't just like one niche that we are focused on. So we do, we make sway bars and have made them for UTVs, and we go all the way up to some applications. Like if you've been at a airport recently and seen the big fire trucks there, the airport fire trucks, they have 3 of our sway bars on those. So, and that's a vehicle that gets our product made into it while it gets developed. Mm-hmm. So so we have like all of these different niches that we fill. Like we're the expert in load and sway control, and then we get to serve a bunch of different markets.
Mm-hmm. Do airplanes have sway bars?
No, but you know what does have sway bars is, have you been to DFW and the tram?
The tram? Yeah.
Yeah.
That
it has some sway bars. It has some of our sway on it that we made for another company. It was like their design and stuff, but we designed it. So my son, and we're like, he's holding on right to the pole, and he's like, I'm like, hey, this has our sway bars on it. And it like rocks a little bit. And he's like, I think you should have done a better job.
Like, I wouldn't be promoting that.
Yeah. And just, if you've never flown into DFW, if you've got a connector in DFW, make sure you have a minimum of an hour and a half. Because invariably they drop you on this side of the airport, and you have to take a tram to get the entire other side of the airport. It's huge, and it's the worst.
Yeah, it's huge, and you get a good view of it, right?
I'm assuming that's Dallas Fort Worth.
Yes, Dallas Fort Worth. Sorry.
Yes.
DFW.
Yeah.
Is that a specific tram somewhere that
No,
I don't know
they
about?
just they
Is
have,
that the monorail at Disneyland? Like, I don't know.
Real quick, what does the engineering team look like as far as, and you guys touch on so many different areas of motorsport? Is it like one engineering team that adapts to all those different areas, or is it
Yeah.
experts in each area that you guys have?
No, it's one. And a lot of times what happens is that there's engineering teams like this one for the DFW tram, like an engineering team on that company who made the tram came to us with a design. So like that happens a lot too, where it's like, hey, here's our design. Can you make it to these specs? And then sometimes it's, we're coming up with the design ourselves too. So it goes both ways quite a bit.
How about the people mover at LAX? You guys doing that, Tran?
No.
do you?
Because we are.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the majority of your products are aftermarket. Are there any OEM? Do you guys do any OEM sway bars for manufacturers?
Yeah, so the FedEx and UPS trucks, the big box trucks, have our sway bars on them.
Oh,
So
wow.
they get built into those. So yeah, it's an option on the Freightliner custom chassis. And I never thought I'd geek out about it, but it's so fun to watch a manufacturing floor, like where, you start with this like raw chassis and you add like wheels and tires and like, at the end you're adding like the steering wheel. It's like the wiring, all of that stuff. It's like fascinating that it all comes together. We like completely, I won't include you guys in on this, but I completely took it for granted until I started like visiting factories.
Yeah,
so.
We definitely take it.
Yeah,
for
we
granted.
100% take advantage. But so I'll speak for Matt here. It's similar in the construction or HVAC world where you show up and it's a completely flat roof, and when you walk off, there's 58 machines humming and making cold air downstairs. Like there's something satisfying about that process of watching raw material or raw components end up being something that works, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll speak to starting off installing that equipment to now planning and ordering and coordinating the installation of that stuff. It's not equal. I think working in the field was a little more satisfying, but it's still satisfying.
Yeah.
So over the course of your time in the industry, you've learned a lot, grown a lot, done a lot, and you seem to be very passionate about giving a lot of that back. Can we talk a little bit about your involvement in some of these organizations, specifically with SEMA, SBN, and those kinds of things? Like, when did that start for you? When did that involvement in we'll call it extracurricular activities in the industry and the business start?
Yeah. So earlier you said that you have stalked me on LinkedIn.
I didn't specifically say that I stalked you, by the way. Nobody take that clip out of context, please. That's gonna be a meme tomorrow. Cody stalks.
Yeah.
And just so you know, he stalks everybody on LinkedIn. It's not.
Yes. And
It's not that.
Whatever.
big a deal.
He's still a man arrested.
Yes.
you're paying attention. I'm completely happy with that, right? It's
Okay.
stuff I put out there. But there was so I stalked. I was a stalker myself of someone in the industry, and she had been in a couple of different like articles. She was a customer that I was supposed to call on, but she was like really never hardly in the office. But I totally went out on a limb and I was like, I want to meet her. She seems dynamic and amazing. And so I set up an appointment with her. And I complimented her about like what I was seeing her do in the industry. And she was like, hey, there's this mentor program with SBN, SEMA Business Women's Network. Why don't you be my mentee? And I was like, I don't really know how to be a mentee, but yes. Like I had no idea what it really like looked like. And she was so freaking generous. She would invite me to a bunch of she was a huge volunteer in the industry. And so she was on the board of directors at the time. She volunteered within the Truck Alliance. So she did a bunch of different stuff, and she would just invite me to things, and I just would always say yes. And there were even a couple times that we would share hotel rooms, which was amazing. And I think about like, would I do that right now? And I'm not sure that I would. So it was incredibly generous of her to do that. And what I learned with that is like, I also learned her habits. Like I learned that like, yeah, we would go have a drink at the bar. We were never the last ones there. We'd have a great time, but she would get up early and she would read the paper. She'd study for the things that we were doing that day. And I'm like, you know, feeling what we did last night, right? And not wanting to get out of bed, but I'm watching her like really attack the day early on. And so, and not only like she open doors for me, which was amazing. She showed me habits that I couldn't have learned anywhere else, right? So it was just like this amazing step in to the industry in a different way. And when I started doing that, what I realized is that there was stuff that I could learn outside my organization that would help my organization if I volunteered. And so I love this industry. And so I also like, I wanted to volunteer for that reason too, but it was like such a like a benefit. When I gave time, I got like so much more back. I know people say that a lot, but that was like absolutely my experience. I learned so much by doing that and really like grew my network too. And it's amazing. I mean, I wish everyone would know this. Like, if you are willing to just be like, hey, I don't know this, would you be willing to answer this question for me? People like tell you a lot more than even what you're asking. Like they want to help you.
So I have two questions. One, who is this amazing person? Or is this a top secret thing? You can't name her. And second, I've found that's a big thing. Like asking questions. If you not, everybody gets put in situations where, you feel like you're expected to have all the answers. And that's not necessarily true. Or you're in a meeting where something is said or there's like a term used and you're like, I don't know what the hell that means. That's like everybody else is like, yeah, you just nod your head like, yeah, whatever. I'll Google that shit after the meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the one person that stands up or steps up and goes, can you explain what a PLA, shifting, whatever it is? And then it's like, oh God, thank God that guy asked. And then everybody learns from that.
Yeah.
But again,
wasn't there like the saying, like there's no stupid questions except the one you don't ask?
Yeah.
Right?
Is that Confucius?
Yeah.
Was that Confucius that said that?
That's
It's
way
either him or
that's way too philosophical for you, Casey. Pull that back. Get something. Say something funny.
Confucius.
Yeah.
It was either Confucius or
what the hell
Benjamin
is this?
Franklin. Yeah. But who was your mentor?
So Anne Johnson was her name. And yeah, she's still in the industry. We don't get to see each other as much. But I still give her so much credit for just that generosity and her willingness. I mean, I was also, I was very careful too. Like I wanted her help. So I was also very like eager to get it right. And I would appreciate it. I would make sure she felt appreciated. I was like very careful to like, how can I help her too? And yeah, I'm young, all of these things, but there might be something that I can do for her that would help. And so just like, I kept looking for those opportunities. It wasn't just that I was like there taking from her. And I think that was like beneficial for her too, but there's something fun when someone asks me a question, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I love to be like, yeah, I'd love to answer that for you.
And so going back to that, I was recently reading an article. It was a CEO in his 50s, and he suggested that every CEO 40 years and older should have a mentor that is under 30. And he said, not mentee, mentor. He said, because these people in your network that are under 30 see the world differently than you do, know technology that you don't know about. And if you ignore them and just treat them as the people below you, they will eventually pass you by. And I think that give and take of cross-generational information sharing is invaluable as an organization grows.
Cross-generational experience.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
me.
They're
Go
opening.
on with your,
they're opening at Coachella.
Yeah.
And then you talked about the networking. So recently I was having a conversation with my wife about in today's market with the way employment / unemployment / job hunting is going. On LinkedIn, it is so easy to do an easy apply. So if a job's open, you just click the blue button, and next thing you know, your name's in the hat. And you'll see jobs on there that have been posted for 21 minutes, and there's 3,472 applicants, because it is so easy to just click the blue button and apply now. It is so important to have a connection and a network that you can pull from, especially when you're in that job market and you are applying for a job. If you don't have the exact right keywords for the SEO searches that their software is using, you'll never bubble up to the top. And it's so important to build your network outside of your, organization or your immediate pool of friends for those opportunities, because you'll never get those opportunities if you don't expand that network.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like the best hires I've had are not from an application process, right? They definitely don't come from, I'll say there's actually one, and it's like, that is completely an outlier. Most of them are, hey, I'm looking to hire. Do you know of anyone? Right? It's like that, what happens in the background, or it's someone that, my salesman, my director of sales, he was so kind to me, and he was one that I'd be like, hey, Vern, I have a question. Can you answer this for me? And he would always answer my question. He would always be super helpful. And I just remember at one point I was like, I really like him on my team. I don't know if I can ever afford him, and I don't know if he would ever want to leave right where he was. And so I just always had that, I'd like him to work with me. And we had a couple, he was available and we didn't have a position. We had a position and he wasn't available. Right. So it was and then finally, he came to work for us, and he's been with us for 4 years now. But those are those types of things that happen just because, I don't know, when you jive with someone, you're and you go through hard stuff at work. So it's really good to have someone that you jive with and you can go through the tough stuff with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's why I got the job that I have, because I literally I swear to God, I had no experience very little experience as far as a project manager or whatever. But I did reference, you know what? I appreciate working on teams where we're all working together with a common goal, and you know what you're getting. The guy that's next to you is going to work as hard as you do, and it kind of pumps you up. Okay, we work together. If you can get that sympathetic, the tornado of production or whatever, it's infectious. And, next thing you know, I'm getting a tour of the shop and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, oh man, look at it. It's worked out well. But I do agree, when it comes to that people, you could tell me that you have all this experience and all these things that are valuable, but I'll take work ethic, attitude, and commitment. Those are really big things. You can work with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I had another mentor who was like, man, you cannot teach give a shit. You can't, you cannot teach someone to care about a job, but you can teach them, if you, for you, project management, you can teach them project management. But if you don't give a shit, and you have the skills, then you're probably not going to be that good. But if you care and want to learn, you can teach anything to people.
Well, and I would flip that around and say that you also can't teach give a shit in leadership, because leadership is so much more about give a shit of your people than it is about the skill itself, right? I've worked for leaders that weren't the smartest person in the room, that didn't have the most experience, but you know what? You always felt heard. You always felt valued. You always felt like you were a member of a team. That leadership, that type of give a shit for your people, supersedes any of those skills, at least in my mind, right? I've worked for some people that were amazing salespeople or amazing engineers, but you're like, man, I don't want to go in there and talk to that guy. The last thing I want to do is talk to that person.
Well, similarly, so I have some field experience, both sheet metal and pipe fitting or whatever, let's say. But if I sit down and I call a meeting between me and my pipe fitting foreman or whatever, and it's like, hey, I could do this estimate or work this schedule, But I want to sit down with you because you're the expert, and let's work this out. Like the credit earned, like I can see that. Like he appreciates that. I acknowledge your expertise, even though I can. It's a simple thing, but can you help me with this?
Yeah.
And
it establishes buy-in and all those things.
100%.
So which
are we on the same pamphlet? Like we're getting the
I
same,
think so.
like,
I have
training?
a quick question on leadership. Being that you're the leader of the ship of such a large organization, do you feel that leadership is something people are born with, or it's learned, or it's a little bit of both?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Like I'm the oldest of 4, and I am I mean, I'm so bossy. Like I really like I have an advice for everyone. Like I mean, my sisters seem appreciative, but I know that at some point like they're rolling their eyes, right? And because I'm like the oldest of 4, like I'm even bossy to my parents right now. So like, yeah, I'm
good.
I
don't
Mom,
like that.
just eat the oatmeal.
Yeah.
don't make me come down there.
So I've leaned hard into
I already put on Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, you gotta stop that.
I don't know. I mean, what do you guys feel? I mean, you guys are
I
in
think it's
different leadership
styles.
roles.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, I'm not a gung-ho, let's go, guys, or whatever, but I am a work ethic. I lead by my work ethic and experience. And again, there's expectations. I put expectations on people. Well, I expect you to still have this done or whatever. So, but I also see the opposite where there's people with an iron fist and it's just, it's like almost fear or intimidation driven.
Yeah.
That's not me. 100% that's not me.
No.
I'm not saying inspired, but I want you to see, oh shit, Matt's killing it. He's putting in his time. I want to reach those expectations or try and achieve what the goals that I'm setting for people. And that's it. But I do see different levels. I think it's styles.
I don't think there's any one recipe.
I think it's both.
Yeah, I don't think there's any one recipe. There are certain people that are born leaders, and you see them on the field at 12 years old leading their little league teams to championships, right? They don't have any training. I think.
But there's also people that have that they're born with that quality, but they're not.
They don't want it.
Encouraged.
Yeah.
They're not. Well, maybe they don't want it, but they're not
there's I'm accepting this responsibility
until a certain time.
It's like that old Roman.
It has to be coaxed out of them.
There's like that old Roman. I want to say proverb, but story where they had like, we need a leader. Let's get a farmer to lead us or whatever. And he just had a great work ethic, and he was he was bright or whatever, but he was able to still use common sense and all these other
You're going to
things.
have to look
How'd
that up.
that
and
work out
bring
for them?
Yeah, I don't
know the proverb or whatever, but there's a specific
that was
thing.
one of the few subjects I paid attention to. And that's not ringing a bell.
Farming and leadership and farming. Let's get these cows to produce more milk.
But regardless of whether or not you're born
It's
with
gotta
it,
be your bowl.
regardless of whether or not you're born with it or it's something that's thrust upon you, it's a never-ending learning opportunity as a leader, because every day your organization changes. Every day you have different challenges. If you've got 100 people, you have to lead 100 different ways. It's an ongoing thing, and I can say in my career, I've been good at it at times, and I've been bad at it at times, and it's one of those things that
But those are the people that you're trying to lead too, right? It's not that's not a common every time person. Oh, it's always the same guy that I'm trying to inspire to get things done on time and under budget. That's a variable as well. So maybe your style changes, or if you could recognize that.
You try.
But Jose, can I go? Because I think that there's something like, I am like naturally this way. But I will say when I was a senior in high school, like when I was graduating high school, I was like, I thought my goal was to marry a rich guy. Like I did not have aspirations.
Me too.
Right?
That's my goal right now. Just so we're clear. It's my goal right today is marry a rich guy.
Yeah, I know that would probably really help me out. So I married my high school sweetheart, and he came from like a wealthier family. Doesn't mean that that's going to be us, right? So but I remember like, but I married someone that was like, never let me like take the easy road. Like, and I thought he was a complete jerk for this for a lot of times, but he would never let me sell myself short. He always saw that I had like something else to give. And I would give him a lot of credit for like seeing that in me, because I think that's part of it, is like your circle of people around you and what they're going to reflect back is so key. Because I would have probably be divorced by this point had I married like just a rich guy, right? Because I would have been really unhappy, because I wouldn't have been like falling into like what I'm like who I am naturally. So yeah, and yeah, I'm glad that didn't really work out for me.
It's interesting because as you're saying that, and I'm not equating myself with your husband by any means. I'm sure he's a much better man than I am.
Me too.
My wife, again, my wife in when she was in that male dominated industry, I found myself in those conversations doing the exact same thing. Going, nope, you work too hard. You're worth more than that. Like, it's almost like being an outsider watching her struggles in that industry and still having some kind of concept of what that conference room conversation is like.
Yeah.
It's like, no, bullshit. You're not taking their shit. This is not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going down like that. Like, it was like almost like a, bullshit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, totally. It was. Yeah. And I think that's so key, right? Like, to be able to do that, because like, I would be like, well, am I going to piss off? I was like, am I going to disappoint my husband, or am I going to piss off some people at work who are being jerks? Right. Like, so there's both of those things. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'll piss some people off. Like, I don't want him to like, it was just like, and also like he saw something more, right, in me. So
I love that. I love that you felt like you had that level of support to push and keep going and end up where you're at. Back to some of the SBN stuff and the SEMA charity stuff. Like, what are the different other than isn't there more than just SBN? I mean, what are the kind of things?
There's so many.
I know that's. Yeah. What there's other organizations are you part of?
Yeah, so within the SEMA umbrella, so I'm on the SEMA board of directors right now. Within the SEMA umbrella, I've been a part of the Emerging Trends in Technology, and I was just at their meeting yesterday. And then I also have been a part of the SBN, the SEMA Business Women's Network. And I've just been a member of that. Like the Emerging Trends in Technology, I sat on their select committee. And then I was the chair of the Light Truck Accessory Alliance, which is now the Truck and Off-Road Alliance. So I was chair of that council for a while. So I also was chair of SEMA Cares. So when leadership opportunities came up, I was like, I'm in, I'll do it. But man, were they like growth edge things that I signed up for. Like, I remember the LTAA that I was the chair of LTAA, and you'd have to lead conference calls, and they're so freaking awkward. I mean, like, we get to see each other's faces here, right? Like in the conference calls, you have no idea if someone's listening. And so it's like really uncomfortable. And I was timid and I was newer in the industry. So I did not present myself very well. And someone was on the council that, and was on the call, right? And after the call, called me immediately and said, hey, and I knew I didn't do a very good job on the call. It was like one of my first or second ones that I had been in charge of. And I was just like, oh, that's not going very well. But I'm going to get on with my day. And he calls me and he goes, hey, you're one of the smartest people I know. Like, you are so bright, but when you show up on these calls, you do not show up in that way. And he was like, whatever you need to do, I want to see you work on that, because I want that. And he was my friend, right? Mm. And man, was that like so hard. I was like, oh, it was that bad. But like that, like him telling me that, like I signed up for Toastmasters, which is like a place to practice speaking, and was able to like just really work hard on my speech. And that like saved my butt because I wanted to say yes to all of these things, right? Like, but I was not presenting myself very well. And so I'm so grateful for that. And also like the willingness to like take the feedback was really key too. Like it stung and I might have like shed a tear after I hung up that call. But I found a group and like started to work on it.
But that person recognized your brilliance or whatever, and just wanted you to be able to portray that in that forum. That's all. And that's awesome. That's hard too. Imagine having to knowing that this is going to sting, but it's going to be better for you in the long run.
And
I think about that, and I've had to give that feedback too, where you're just like
100%.
Oh, but like I'm doing this from a loving place. Yeah. Like I hope in the end that you will see that.
But those experiences, those really sharp sting, knife in the side, those only
it's not knives in the side. It's just,
I was trying to think of a good metaphor.
I felt like that.
But
Julius Caesar.
Yes, you're right. That was but those are the learning experiences you have to have. And my suggestion to people is have that learning experience way early on in your career. Don't wait till you're 45 years old and now you're like, oh shit, I really bombed that call, because that's much harder to recover from. You screw up in your 20s, screw up early in your career as much as you can by taking on those challenges, and you will be better faster.
But don't you think that now, since COVID, and I don't know, but now those calls I am inundated with meetings, like at least 3 or 4 a day, that it's like, well, let's discuss this bullshit. Where are we going to put this thermostat? Next thing you know, you're having these meetings, and it's like, oh my God, why is the project manager for Kaiser, the whole hospital, it's sitting in this meeting? Who invited this guy? It's like, oh, all right, now this dumb meeting that is going to be meaningless, like, and a 5-minute thing, we're now bringing in like some big dogs, and it's going to turn into a half hour, and I'm going to have to answer some questions, whatever. But my point is, like, don't you think that's kind of like things are changing in that way, where it's almost, that's the expectation?
Kind of. I'll tell you a story, Casey. So our cousin Shane is in law enforcement, and they're going to Akatia Wells, and he asked me for some maps. So I shot him some maps. Here's a bunch of campsites. Here's a bunch of stuff. So he says, hey man, can you help me with some of these maps? So I sent him a link to a video chat, just like we're doing right now. And I said, okay, I sent you a link. And he gets on, and he's like, oh, that's the first time I've ever done this. And I went, what?
Wow.
It is 2023. I'm on 17 of these a day. What are you talking? He's like,
and then I have to get my work done.
He's in law enforcement. It's like they're not.
He's like, nope, never done a video chat. I'm like, it blew me away. That's like
the height of COVID. I was video chatting my friends. We were having parties.
Yes. I could not believe it. So to your point, Matt, there's still a faction of the country that's like, zoom in on what? What am I zooming in on? Like
my wife does that.
It's insanity. So of the 78 boards and committees that you're on, how much time do you sleep? Because I got to imagine running the company and being a full-time mother and wife and running all the, like, what is it that's keeping you going?
Yeah. So I have not slept very much because I've been traveling, and I just never sleep very much when I travel. But, the thing is, like, I used to be like, it has to be perfect all the time. And where I'm at right now, I'm like, well, I'll just make up for it on the weekend, right? Or I'll make up for it in the future. And I've been traveling a lot, so I haven't got a ton of time with my son. So I'll make sure I'm the one that's doing like pickup. He's 13, so he really isn't interested. I feel like it's me with like the crush on him now, where I want to spend the time, but he's like not interested. It's not being received very well.
He's like, Mom's been gone all week? What?
Yeah. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go to bed on time. Like that's what's gonna happen. So
it doesn't get better.
So I just like, it ebbs and flows, right? And that's where I'm at right now, where I know I'm gonna like make up some time for being gone, and it gets a little tricky because I also need to make up time for being gone with work too. And luckily I have an awesome team, so I can rely heavily on them too. So, yeah.
Does your husband and son ever get to travel with you when you go to fun places?
Yes. Yeah. We went to Moab last year together.
Nice.
My son travels a lot with me, and now that he's getting older, if he didn't like have that stink face on sometimes, I would probably take him like to museums. I got to work on that, you guys. Like, you guys were 13-year-old boys. How do I do?
My daughter is 7, and it's constant stink face. It is like she's.
I have a 16-year-old boy, and I'm telling you, from 13 to 16. I think it gets worse.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a 13 and 11-year-old. They have stink face because they smell.
And they also stink.
Yes.
Well, I have stink face for that reason. But...
Exactly. I walk around. We all have stink face.
Yeah, totally.
You walk around the house going, "What is that smell?" Oh, it's my teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Does your son have any interest in the automotive world?
Right now he wants to be like a race car driver.
Me too.
At one point he was like a dirt bike rider. He's super good at like downhill mountain bikes. So like, I think that might be winning right now.
You should get him a Nissan Frontier.
Okay.
And this is where she logs off.
Yeah. What was that, Melanie?
Why a Nissan Frontier?
Go ahead, Case.
Just because they're cool. The best truck on the market right now.
We are a very pro Frontier podcast.
So the Nissan several years. I mean, the Toyota Tacoma is the Toyota Tacoma is the juggernaut in the midsize market. Matt went out and bought a 2018 Frontier, and then Casey got a 2014, and then Jose got a 2022. And what we have found is that Frontier, for 2/3 the price of a Tacoma, will either keep up with or mop the floor with a Tacoma all day long.
Yeah.
So because it's a very underserved product in the aftermarket world, we are constantly talking about the Nissan Frontier. I mean, it's not as good as the Ford Ranger, 100%, but
because you have the Ranger.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, so these guys talk about how anytime something is cool, it has to be a Nissan Frontier as far as they're concerned.
Gotcha. So it's funny because I'm like, what is he going to drive when he gets his license, right? Like, and I drove like an old like ex sales car. It was a Caprice Classic, and it was like
that's a cop car. Straight up cop car, dude.
Yeah, a cop car, right? The headliner would like come down and like hit you on the head, so you have to like push it back up. There was a back scratcher for that held the glove box closed. It was just like awesome. It was a hot mess of a car, and I think about that like someone's like, he should do one of your like old sales trucks or something, and I'm like, no, like those are cool. They have like, if you saw like the Ranger, it has a refrigerator in the
I know.
back.
I've
like,
seen the Ranger several times. I've seen the Ranger. So one of the first times we interviewed Mike was at SEMA 2019, I think, and that Ranger was part of my decision to get mine. Like I was like,
oh, really?
I loved it.
Oh.
I was already on board with it. I really wanted one, and I was going back and forth between that and the Tacoma, and I saw the Hellwig Ranger, and I went, okay, it can look like that. And then there was a couple other factors, but yeah, I'm very familiar with the Ranger.
Yeah. Well, my son will not be driving that particular Ranger unless it doesn't have a fridge and a bed on it.
Yeah, you're gonna go find a jalopy for just so he has the experience of driving a piece of crap.
Ford LTD, like one of those mid 70s,
like
that giant
to drive
boat.
Stick. Yeah. So.
Props. Yeah, that was my first car.
Nissan Frontier.
Nissan hardbody. Get a Nissan hardbody. My first car was a Ford Escort, and I loved it. It was badass.
I was jealous of the Ford Escort for sure. In my big old Caprice Classic.
Yeah, but I think we're talking about like a 20-year difference between when I had my first car and when you had your first car.
I don't know.
My first car, I had to start it. It had like that crank in the front. Like I had to get out and I had to start cranking it. And I had to run over and like hit the throttle. Like, okay, woo, I'm going to school today.
Matt's first car
the wheels were made out of wood.
Yeah, Matt's first car was black because that's the only color they came in. Yeah. Henry Ford said, if you don't like black.
He had one of the first Hellwig sway bars
in 1946.
Yeah, totally.
So what is next? And I hesitate to ask because I feel like you're already doing so much. Is there something else that you want to be doing, either with the organization or your personal life or the SEMA group, or what kind of things are you aspiring to next?
Yeah. Yes, all of the things, right? Like my poor family, I have like a chart on our fridge of like what we want to accomplish for the year. So we have goals as a family. I'm really excited. Like this year, my son is going to learn more about U.S. history. So I think I'm like getting him to DC, and I'm super like geeking out about like the things that I'm going to be able to see that I've never seen, because I'll take him. And so there's things like that. Like there's, yes, of course, there's things in the industry I want to be signing up for more. But really, I think that also is like elevating my team, because I'm gone more. So yeah, so I think it's a lot of things. And I think there's this like magical thing, as like things become a little bit more challenging in the industry and like the economy too. Like this is the time that I love, because I love showing up for our customers. And I think these are the times when you really have to, and we can weather this together, right? So I think this is like a magical time, even though it's really hard, to make sure like, our sales are moving through. It becomes more challenging, but it also makes us better. And that's the part that I'm excited about. So yeah, I don't have a picture of what I have on my fridge. I probably should take one, because there's a lot on there.
DC is amazing. I didn't think I was going to like Washington, DC, but my wife and I went, we loved it. I definitely want to go back. The organization. So 1946 is when it started. What's the growth look like? I mean, I'm sure it started as a small family business, but you guys are large now. Like how many employees is Hellwig at today?
Yeah, so we're at about, I want to say like 46 right now.
Okay.
Is where we're at. So, we've fluctuated with the pandemic when there were like, we were just crazy cranking away. We had like above 50. But I will say, like, when I came into the organization, and really like got into like a more like, started like marketing manager and like management roles, like we've tripled in size in the company. So I want to do that again.
Well, so
just something little.
So you don't like sleep?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So with that, pie in the sky. When would that tripling in size occur? Is that a 2-year, a 3-year, 5-year goal?
Yeah, I mean, it's a BHAG, right? It's like what you put out there, like 10 years, like where you want to be. So it's our big, hairy, audacious goal that we're going to
come
hit,
on. Big, hairy ass goal. That's what that is. But I feel like, so going back to that, you talked about when you came into marketing and then, the tripling of the business, like from your experience in the sales and the marketing side, throwing that BHAG out going, okay, we're going to triple in size. As the CEO, you know what's going to be involved, what resources are going to be involved, what kind of marketing is going to be required, what kind of sales, like going back to your knowledge of the industry and that business from the ground up. It's not just a goal where you go, we're going to triple in size, minions, go make it happen. Like it's not, you're not in an organization like that. You can really wrap your head around that. And I have to imagine that there's like a resource planning that takes place in that kind of, ongoing growth projection that helps you get there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't get anywhere without a plan, right? A map to get there. And so we do have that. And also like I think that's what I find the most exciting about my job, is that this is where the growth happens, right? It's where when you sign up for big, crazy things that like, I don't know, sometimes like shouldn't happen. It's like, oh gosh, like we got there, but like who you become in the process is the key. And I think that's what I'm excited for me and my team, and like who we have to become to like fill that that next role, right? To hit those goals.
Well, as someone that has a family goal chart on the refrigerator at home, I'm going to assume you've got the foresight and planning capabilities to get the organization there.
Hey, am I on your family goal chart on your fridge?
No,
I'm not.
Do you
on
have
your
a fanny
family.
pack?
Oh my
Oh
god!
my god! So
And this interview is over.
this is done.
Shut
Are
it
you
down
gonna do
right now.
Sorry, we're cutting out.
Yes. So
Oh, it's
so
breaking up.
I forgot. So there we had a long conversation about fanny packs at SEMA, and
Here we go.
and
A long one.
I was explaining
There
it.
are some serious opinions in this room about it.
I was explaining how cool fanny packs are, and this one here shut me down. Like, she was like, no way, not cool in any way at all. And I cannot believe you brought it up, because I'm still hurting from that conversation. You hurt my ego, and you pained me.
Yeah, no,
I'm
let's
really
bludgeon
sorry
him some
about
more.
that. I was still, like that call that I got that was like, hey, you're brilliant, but you need to work on your speech. I have this right now for you.
Woo!
Here's how I see it.
I agree with
Okay,
you,
you're
but let me
single.
tell you why you're wrong.
If you're
Yeah.
single,
Okay, first
if
of
you're
all,
single, fanny packs are not cool.
okay,
If you're if you're a rivaling dad,
no,
and I see you pull out a pocket knife or
yes.
a multi-tool or something out of your fanny pack,
See,
whoa.
it's
What about a multi?
it runs in the genes. It runs.
Okay, so that's
Did you see
fair
that?
because it's not me. Then you're
No.
trying to impress. You're trying to impress the other dads.
The other
It's a
dorks.
rivaling dad.
The other
100%.
dorks is what you're trying to impress.
Yeah.
You could just
Okay.
have
You see
a
how
sheath for
prepared
your
he
knife.
was?
First of all, no
Fanny
one's ever called me
packs.
brilliant, and second of all, you're wrong about fanny packs.
It's fair. It's fine. We can agree to disagree.
Okay, then what's your position on
It's
cargo
like how
shorts?
hold on. It's like how they say women don't dress up for men; they dress
Yeah.
up for other women.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Men-
Oh, fanny
men-
packs are
hey,
not for other women. They're for men.
Dads don't wear fanny packs for women; they wear fanny packs for other men.
Yeah, we're already locked down at home. We already got a wife. We're not worried about that. It's about that. So what's your position on cargo shorts?
Oh, I don't have an opinion about them.
What
they're-
tactical dad shorts?
If they're camouflage, they're
Yeah.
fine.
yeah, so we call them tactical dad shorts. and you literally would you have I mean,
Yeah, but what if you're wearing the cargo shorts with a fanny pack?
Yeah,
now
it's
see, now
redundant.
I,
Is that too
no,
much?
I'll,
Is that
I'll give
too-
you that. So you don't need to,
Have
you don't
you
do that.
That'd be double.
Have you ever heard of
that's
optimal
being
optimist?
greedy.
That's too much. You either wear cargo shorts or the fanny pack.
With a
You-
backpack
Yes.
and, come
Yes.
on.
And
I
I
don't
wear-
know, man. If you're going hiking, those extra fanny pack with 2 more pockets.
I don't
Yeah.
look. I don't need to be that ready for anything like this. Whatever. If there's
You're
something I
not
should
going
have had,
anywhere that far.
exactly. I didn't bring my mountain lion spray with me in all of my pockets.
Mountain
I
lion
was.
spray?
I don't know, dude. I was meant to die. That's all I'm saying. and I'm fine with that.
So look, obviously we've established that we are a bunch of dorks here, and
You guys. I'm still cool.
So what is it? If there's any piece of advice for a young woman in the automotive industry that is like, you know what, I want to make this my career. I love the people. I love the passion. What would be like your parting advice? What would you tell someone to do?
Yeah, so I actually have been thinking about this, Cody, because you have a girl, and we talked about this at SEMA, and it's you want to see her be successful in whatever she does, right? So having the opportunity. So I actually been someone asked me recently,
Happening.
what would you tell your younger self? And I think my younger self was so damn stubborn I wouldn't have listened, but I'm hoping other girls would listen to me at this point, right? Because I would have made this mistake. And I don't know that it necessarily has to do with the automotive aftermarket. I think it has to do with in general. I think I really want women or men to know that people are rooting for you. There are a lot of people that want to see you be successful. And so that is one of the biggest things that it took me a while to understand, that more than not want to see you be successful, want to help you with that. And then the failure, signing up for things that are outside my comfort zone. I know if I'm really comfortable doing what I do every day, then I'm not like growing. And I think that is like that constant, like, luckily I like change and that kind of stuff, but I know if I'm like comfortable, I'm not stretching. I'm not growing. And so being willing to sign up for that. And like you said earlier, like do it early, do it like early in your career, like at least the big ones. Right. But I think if you're not feeling, then you're not trying. And so that like permission to fail. And then the biggest for me, and this took me a while, like, is to have fun. Like, I entered into this like super fun industry, and I will say that there are like months that go by. There were months that have gone by, and I haven't really like enjoyed it. I've been like stressed, and believe me, like since 2020, like there were plenty of things to be stressed about, and there still are, right? But there's always that choice of like, am I going to let this like wash everything good away, or am I gonna just like let it be in its spot? The hard thing. And like that's what I would really love all girls to, anyone, right, young, is like, this too shall pass, like this really uncomfortable thing, and if you like let it can take over everything. That uncomfortable stuff.
So every day, and I have this conversation with my daughter every day.
Here we go.
Okay, look, these guys know.
No, we already know this was coming.
So every day, when I drop my daughter off at school, I ask her, I said, "Are you ready to have a good day?" And she says, "Yes, Daddy." And I said, "Who decides if you have a good day?" And she says, "Me." And what she doesn't know is I say that more for me than for her, because it's easier for her to forget things, and I'm the one that will dwell and get angry on things. Like it's as much for me to remember to just decide to have a good day than to not. And I think that resonates with what you're saying, is that the people are rooting for you. Focus on those things. Don't let the negatives overcome the positives.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
I always tell my son, you have control over your attitude and your actions. And that's like really like, because you don't have that control over what other people do. But sometimes I have to like flip the mirror back on me and be like, you don't have control over what that person did. You have control over how you're going to react to it and your attitude about it.
And I feel like that gets harder as you get older.
I think so. Yeah, it's a muscle for sure that I have to exercise often.
I think it goes back to our early conversations before we actually hit record, is the get off my goddamn lawn. Like that crotchety old, God damn it, I want it done this way for whatever reason, and that's what's going to happen. Like it's just, it does take a lot to overcome some of those things.
That's whatever muscle it is that's the signs of atrophy.
Yeah, totally. Is the get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
If you're wearing cargo shorts or a fanny pack or yelling about your lawn, you're probably a crotchety old bastard.
If you had your lawn muscles,
that muscle has shriveled down.
Yeah. If you had to yell at your people, these people, about getting off your lawn, because you couldn't run them down, then you had atrophy. Exactly. No, I agree. Good point, Case.
Well, Melanie, I have been very excited about this conversation because I've been watching you from, like I said, from SEMA and on LinkedIn, and seeing the things that you're doing, and I think you're very inspirational.
I said watching, who meant stalking.
Look,
I thought your comments on going to In-N-Out last week were really great. I agree with you. Sometimes you got to go 3x3 without grilled onions.
My point being is, I think
I do like NA more than rigatoni. You're right about that.
You guys are horrible. I really like what you're doing in the industry, and I like that you're bringing a very relatable face to the industry at a very high level in an organization that's got an established relationship with the automotive aftermarket and a great reputation. And I think what you guys are doing is amazing, and I'm very, very appreciative of your time hanging out with a bunch of dorks that wear cargo pants and fanny packs, and I'm just very grateful. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is really fun. Yeah, I appreciate what you guys are doing, right? You're getting the message out there. And thanks for letting me have a platform. If I influence anyone, like, that just brings me joy. So I appreciate it. And you guys are a riot.
Anytime you want to come back, just let us know. Open door for you.
Okay, awesome.
All right, have a great night.
Thank you. So
much.
Thank you.
All right, we are still live on YouTube. So we'll end the conversation there. Thank you. That was awesome. Great conversation. A lot of fun. Thank you for letting us go on random tangents and rants. That's just what we do.
It's fun. That's what like conversation is, right? So it's awesome.
We when this show first started, I would like write out all of the questions that I was going to ask, and we just stopped.
And then I'd ruin them.
Yeah. Now it's just like, look, minimal research. Just enough information to start a conversation, and it's way more fun for us.
And I'm proud of you. You didn't cry tonight.
I
Or
didn't
I started talking about.
I thought you were talking to me because I talked. I was like, I said I cried 3 times tonight.
No. That was at Cody.
Every time someone talks about my daughter, I cry.
Yes,
it's my thing.
You could see. Well, we can see where when he starts going down that direction, and because it's happened.
Oh yeah,
it's happened.
It's happened.
So.
It's happened on the show.
You got to insert some comedy and try to reel him back in.
Try and like so he's aware. Like, okay, these guys are gonna make fun of me. Yeah,
I don't even care. You guys make fun of me. I cry when I talk about my daughter. I'll edit this tomorrow after work. Get it all put together. We'll upload.
Jose always brings up Presley in the most inappropriate thing.
Like what?
And then I will
just to try and make him cry. Stuff.
So I'll edit this tomorrow after work, and then I will send you. And should I send it to Mike too? The social media post that we're going to use, and we will upload it to the media host tomorrow night. It'll be ready for download on Thursday on all major platforms, and we'll usually Thursday evening or Friday I'll post the social media announcements to try to get an additional push of downloads for the show, and go from there. But in all honesty, if there's anything we can do to help you guys, if there's anything you want to come on and talk about new products or whatever, we really enjoy working with you guys and would love to have you back on anytime.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Once you guys make sway bars for airplanes.
Yes. Well, let's talk about it next time.
We did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We're going to do another segment. I'm going to go check on my daughter, and then we're going to do another segment, and I will be in contact with you in the next couple days.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks, Melanie.
Good night.
I got to go check on Pete.
I also have to go check on Pete. But by that, I meant at Pete.
I mean, we're still streaming, so...
I mean, I normally I would mute the mic, but I can keep it on while I pee if you want, Jose.
Hey, man, anything goes.
Hey, Jose, my headphones are wireless, so tell me a story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we're definitely going to stream right now. I don't know. What did I miss? Yeah. This is what we've been doing for the past 2 hours, Dave. This is the show, just me sitting here. Yeah, abandonment. Where do I start? Yeah, I'm not really good on my own. I need something to Yeah, this is Jose's OnlyFans page now. Let's make sure nobody's coming for the premium content. Oh, he's
Jose,
back.
I'm very disappointed. That was your Delaware moment.
Yeah, but I was Garth in Wayne's World.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not good on my own, dude. I'm very boring on my own. I need just someone I can, tell dumb dick jokes off of. Say something, okay. and then it has nothing to do with being immature, and I'll make it immature.
Yeah. Have we announced anything on our behalf yet about the 2 weekends festivities?
No. What are we doing with that? We got to talk about that.
I don't see
assuming.
why we would
Yeah,
hush
I don't either.
hush it.
I don't either.
What's that?
Next, not this
About
coming
the
weekend,
couple
following
weeks
weekend,
festivities. We got to talk about
Yeah,
that,
we'll
right?
talk about it tonight.
Okay.
We will be. All right. What did he say?
We can also talk about.
Thoughts on Jose from 8 to... Oh, I see,
Yeah. It's just.
Jose had a Delaware moment and
Yeah,
he
dude,
flopped it.
Oh, I didn't flop it. I kind of just rose to the occasion of what was expected. Nothing. Nothing. Wayne.
If you're not careful, you're gonna lose me.
That was a very good interview.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Really, really good.
There has to be. I don't know. Nebraska's pretty. That's one of those states that it's still kind of like the Wild West, right? Nebraska.
I think it's just.
That's where
corn.
she's at, Nebraska?
No.
They're in Visalia.
Oh, God, I've been there before.
Hey, you have another water there, or? Thanks, sir.
Interesting.
Much like this show, I make up 25% of the Hispanic population on this show.
All right, 3, 2,
I'm partial American Indian, Jose.
3,
So
3,
take that.
3, 2, 1.
Like
Do
2%.
you get a reparation check every month?
I don't qualify. I've tried. We don't have any casinos in North Carolina that I know of, but I've done some research.
3, 2, 1.
Showanoke Indians.
3, motherfucking 2, motherfucking 1.
Chicken.
You guys, all right, so thank you to Melanie for the interview. I appreciate it very much. These guys are jackasses. They're making it difficult to continue with the show.
Jackass Canyon. Let's go explore.
Oh yeah, we were Jackass Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Hold on. I do. We do have an announcement. So the
Adventure bikes.
yeah, we have an announcement.
We're all selling the trucks and getting KLR.
Yeah, we're all
KLR 650s
KLR
for the win.
650s that will be on its side the whole time because Jose just took a motorcycle training course and
I'm just going down the checklist.
Oh, no, he wants a ZXR 400.
No, he should get the SV650 like we looked at. So anyways, March 18th and 19th. For those of you guys that remember, a handful of episodes ago, we had Mark from YOLO Wheeling on the show, and they are doing the YOLO Wheeling Overland show at Featherly Park in Anaheim, California on March 18th and 19th. It's off of Santa Ana Canyon Road. It is
It's a very nice park.
It's a very nice, very large park.
It's by the Green River Golf Course, right?
Back
Yes.
from my VW
Kind of
days,
that
you
same
know.
area, right?
Yes, same
So
area.
maybe I'll play 18 on Sunday.
Maybe.
I don't think you're gonna have time.
Yeah, you won't have time because we are going to be emceeing the entire event for the weekend.
Man, we're going back to our roots.
No, we are totally going back to our. So if you want to find out
I'm
more,
gonna start writing jokes.
Hot dog line interviews.
Oh,
No,
God. We
man.
can only hope. We can only hope that there's a line for hot dogs.
oh my God,
And I've heard rumors that there will be a fun box.
oh
Yeah, we'll get a fun
we
box
still have the
going.
fun box. I don't know what's going to be in the fun box, but
Nobody knows what's
Fun.
in the fun box.
so
Self-explanatory. There's fun in the box.
Yeah, Cody, we were us three were talking. You weren't in the room, but I was telling him how amazed I was how much of a hit that was. Like, I thought that was gonna be a flop, dude.
really
yeah.
Jose's fun box?
Yeah, dude. I didn't.
Oh, dude.
And then
No.
the fact that people were like hesitant to put their hand in there, it's like, bro, what are we?
Dude,
What are we gonna put in there?
This year we're gonna
Like
put.
we were at a haunted house.
Yeah.
So it was episode 257 when we interviewed Mark from YOLO Wheeling. So at the YOLO Overland show at Featherly Park, March 18th and 19th, we will be there for the entire weekend. I've got a meeting with Mark tomorrow to talk about it some more, about what our plan is. But yeah, we're going to be doing some MC duties, helping with the raffles and getting everybody organized. It is you can camp the whole weekend there. They have spaces available for people to camp. You can go to Trek, Trek, trek.yolowheelin with no G, wheelin.com and find out more. You can go to the very top of the page. It says Overland Show, learn more. The show itself is...
You can go to their Instagram and just follow the link tree as well.
Good
YOLO
point.
Wheelin on Instagram.
It's a charity event for Children's Hospital of Orange County. You can get tickets. I'm looking right now. It looks like tickets are still available. You can do just parking. You can just come for the day. You can do a full weekend of camping. The full weekend of rig and tent camping is only $70. You can do an RV spot. There's a winch recovery class that they're doing, gear recovery class. There's a rope course for the kids. It looks like the girls will be with me at least one of those days, so probably Saturday.
There's going to be a fun box.
We will have
Is
Jose's.
there going to be a Jose's Funbox 2.0, or we're still keeping it 1.0?
Well, I mean, after Elam went elbow deep,
we have to see how.
I mean, it was blown out, but
in how bad a shape Jose's fun box is in, and then we'll make an assessment.
Look, it's a myth that the more hands you have reaching in a fun box stretches it out and it won't work. That's all a myth.
No, it's elastic. It has elasticity.
So I still have the fun box. It's in the garage. Everything's ready to go. We just need to throw some more stickers on it, put some more stuff in it, and then we will have the fun box going. We will have, we will be recording there. We will be interviewing people there. So please, if you guys are in the area, please come to the event. I am very excited about the opportunity to get back to events, to do
Reach
more.
into the fun box.
Yep.
You know, like there could be dangerous things. There could be good things.
Yep.
There could be things you don't really care about, but
You might reach into the fun box and come out with a hot dog.
Yeah.
We don't.
And if anybody, if anybody wants to put anything into
cooked
the fun
or
box,
raw.
everybody's a winner.
if
So
anybody
am I.
wants to put anything in the fun box for people to pull out of the fun box, please let us
Depending
know.
on what you consider a winner.
It's all subjective. It is.
You know what's funny about this show is we go from a amazing interview with Melanie White, the CEO of an organization,
Don't make me feel bad. Don't try and
directly
make me feel bad.
into
appreciate
sixth
it.
grade boy humor.
Fun
Right?
boxes and
Yes,
weed.
we are the worst.
We have to decompress.
We are the
Right?
worst.
I was
We
on my
all-
best.
we
I was
all-
on my best
we all-
behavior.
You
We
guys,
all mind our P's and Q's.
you guys did
right,
good. You
for
guys-
an hour and a half.
Yeah, dude, that
and
was
then now we have
hard.
to just let it all out.
you guys actually did pretty good.
Hey, you know what P's and Q's are? Mind your P's and Q's. Pints and quarts.
Pints and quarts.
Yeah,
didn't
look
know
that
that.
up. Yeah.
You know where the whole nine? Give them the whole 9 yards comes from.
That's like, I don't think that's appropriate, Jose. Talk about something like that on this podcast. How dare you? The whole 9 yards. Everybody knows what that's about.
What's it about?
You gotta go to Pornhub for that.
No, you guys are killing me. You guys are killing me. The
Jose, he did it. I didn't bring it up. The whole 9 yards. Disgusting.
So back to
Jose, what does the whole 9 yards come from? I'm sorry.
The reason I know is because I went to the Chino Air Museum this past weekend,
What? Oh.
and you know the
Shit.
old well,
It has
the
nothing
machine
to do with porn.
no,
Okay. Thank you.
the machine gun belts were 9 yards.
Oh,
long.
shit.
So there's like give them the whole 9 yards.
that I did not know.
But I knew that before the Air Museum.
Did you? I did not. I did not know that.
Just useless knowledge I have.
No.
That's another
kudos
quick
to you.
quick
Jose.
quick
listen.
fact.
Look
Yeah,
at
that's
people.
a Jose.
You are learning important things
Thanks for
here.
that info, Bean.
So March 18th and 19th, YOLO Wheeling event, Featherly Park, which is like Jose said, it's a big park. They do a lot of big things there, like big car shows and events and all kinds of stuff. and the we will be there all weekend. I don't know if we will be there Friday night, Saturday night, and all day Sunday, or just Saturday to Saturday night and Sunday. I don't. I got to figure that part out. But it starts.
Sounds like being there Friday night would be fun.
I do think we because
so it looks like me and Casey are probably going to try and be there on Friday night.
Handle minimum, right?
With a minimum handle of various.
Look at
this. I don't want to lock us down to rums.
Look at this on it's official now on
I
the
saw
show.
that we're
Dude,
There's expectation now.
damn it.
Shit.
Food. Look at they've got our logo, and right underneath it says food and entertainment.
Whoa, wait.
I don't have food and I'm not entertaining. What is gonna? I think there's.
Well, we're above that. We're like it's the next line
not
below.
above anything.
Are we the education?
We're in the gray zone.
And
what is the expectation?
Mark is a hustler.
Oh my god!
Mark is a hustler. He's adding people left. Like he just added 2 more vendors today.
Yeah, it's going to be it's gaining a lot of momentum. It's going to be a big event. I'm excited about it. It is.
Yeah, Betty White is correct. Hot dogs can be both food and entertainment.
So please come hang out with us for the day if you guys are able to. It would be fun to see everybody again. It's been a while since we've done one of these events. It's one of my favorite parts of what we do is going to these types of community events and being able to hang out with people and yuck it up on the mic, and so.
Well, I'll start working on my like taco line humor or whatever. Like maybe there's.
Well, let's see. Hold on.
I have enough experience now. I'll do some training, some research. I'm very adverse, like with hot dog lines.
Oh my god. Okay, so we've got Andrea's Catering, Tabay's Kitchen, and then you got the Boom Mexican food.
Wow. Okay.
I need the Boom Mexican food, and it is a bomb wearing a sombrero.
Yeah, no, okay. So I got a lot of studying to do for those, but those are very important interviews. Those might be the most important interviews of the weekend. The people standing in line.
Remember
like,
we interviewed that tequila person and we took shots at that.
Fuck. Vaguely. Where was that, Jose?
At that O'Neill.
Was that
at the O'Neill? That was at the O'Neill event.
Oh, that's right. But I don't think that was like a vendor. I think that was just some dude.
No, it was
like
no,
they were selling tequila there, and you guys went over there to take quote samples.
Oh, that's right. I do remember who was handing me the samples now and why. Yes.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
And I was happy to take those samples.
Yes. So March 18th and 19th
of the tequila that I can't mention or remember.
Yeah,
it was delicious.
It all tastes like.
Let us know if you're gonna come. We
damn it, Jose! Come on, man. Those people are like counting on us to continue the speaking to that product in a positive manner.
What product is that?
Exactly. I don't remember. I just remember the chick that poured it for us. It was pretty hot. That's all I remember. Fine, after you coaxed it out of me. No, it was the O'Neill thing.
I do not remember anything.
No, I don't think you were there.
You know what's fucked up? I remember more the bottle than the chick. Shows you where my priorities were.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You were pretty whack back in those days.
Was?
So, another event that is coming up that we are having some conversations about is the Tread Agency. So they are a division of Con Media. We've done a ton of work with Con Media. They are doing in 2023 what they're calling the Traction Series, which is a series of events throughout the country, essentially. They're doing one in Montana, one in Joshua Tree, California, and one in another one back in Montana. So the one at Joshua Tree is going to be in September 11th through 13th, and they're working on getting people, companies, vendors signed up for the event now, and we will be participating in the event in some fashion.
When you sent that invite, I was hoping that you're like, we're going to the Montana one.
I know.
I was like, oh
can
shit.
we go to
I
Montana
was like, oh
one?
shit, we're going to Montana.
Hey,
We could go to the Montana one, but everybody
first one
gonna.
in Montana is like one of the classes is like predator defense.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, like, dude, this is gonna be awesome. There's like, oh wait, we're doing the.
I'm gonna learn how to fight a predator.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna do the Joshua Tree one in September.
I'll tell you how to fight a predator, dude. Find
Chris,
some mud.
Chris Hansen's gonna be
You
there
gotta,
teaching the
you gotta
class.
coat yourself in mud.
Chris Hansen. Did you say Chris Hansen?
He
I got
catches
it, Jose.
predators.
I got it.
To catch a predator?
Oh, God.
All you need is a little boy and a computer.
Stop.
Oh my
Stop.
God.
You
I
guys.
do not approve. I do not approve of that.
You guys went down the wrong
That's how
path.
you catch them.
So
I'm just saying, dude, he made a living off catching predators.
Assuming that they still want us to attend after this freaking episode, the Tread Agency is.
I just want to talk about putting mud on yourself and then
What?
predator can't see you and whatever. And then you
How?
guys had to go down
We're not even going to be able to
a
release this second half of this
disgusting-
show.
You had to go to the disgusting angle with trout.
Stop, you guys.
And I don't know if mud will help you prevent child predators.
You guys, you're killing me. You're killing me. Stop.
All right, so skip to. Are we mentioning our
Edit that.
sort of thing that we have as well coming up, or are we just?
I would like to, but I can't get past the child
Probably
predator
can't-
over here.
No, hold on.
Just
All I mentioned
just so
was
you
a
know,
host of a show.
Pointed at Jose.
He's a master predator catcher.
He is.
What am I supposed
Yes.
to do?
Okay. So, anyways,
He's the predator hunter.
so the Tread Agency is doing this show, this event in September.
How do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I was gonna
would
say
be-
second to Arnold, of course.
Yeah, I mean, but given like if they switch roles, right? Do you? So
Billy
Chris Hansen-
technically was supposed to be number one.
right? Chris Hansen couldn't do shit against the real predator. But do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger would have any ability to stop child predators? I don't know. That's a good question. I love looking at Cody. He's so pissed right now. Oh, it's the best.
Well, you
That
can,
is the best.
You can switch the roles
He's
too.
so
Does
mad.
Can Chris
Look at
Hansen?
his face.
Can Chris Hansen hunt a predator in the jungle?
Fuck no, dude. He couldn't hunt for like his keys if he dropped them and he had to get out of there, Give me a break.
Are we good? Can we get it out of our system? We done?
I don't think
I
so.
can see the pain on Cody's forehead through his hat.
Yeah, he's so mad. Oh, I love it.
Uh.
I love it. It's the best.
So
This is the best.
so
Now let's read the comments.
no.
Just to refuel.
No. So YOLO event, the Tread Agency event.
Dude, the YOLO event's like a week and a half.
I know. Will you stop hitting the fucking table, please?
Is that me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I apologize.
And then we spent a half hour or so. Casey and I talked yesterday, and then we spent about a half hour, 45 minutes today before we went live, going through the map for our Mojave Trail trip. So that is happening. It is going to happen. It is going to happen in April, and it is going to require taking a day off of work because we're looking at doing a Thursday night, going out to Laughlin, spending the night at the Avi,
Friday morning.
hitting the trail Friday
Well,
morning.
but you don't have to commit to the Thursday night. You just have to.
No,
be
if you
at
want
the
to, if
trailhead
you want to
Friday
leave your
morning.
house at 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday
Yeah,
to get to the
that's what we
trailhead at
speak
9,
for,
that's
right.
fine. But
I will be leaving the craps table when you leave your
Yeah.
house on Friday.
mm-hmm. My plan is to go out Thursday night to spend the night at the Avi, and then we're gonna hit the trail. Friday
Has
morning.
anybody stayed at the Avi? Like I've never stayed at the Avi. Is it good?
I think I've stayed there before.
We've always stayed.
I think
like,
it's nice. I think it's fairly nice. My cousins used to go there and party all the time.
Yeah.
Well, partying and staying in a hotel are two different things.
Yeah, I mean, I party a lot
No,
of
I
places
didn't
I
know
thought
what
were
you did.
nice. Turns out, you party in the back in somebody's backyard. That wasn't a place to stay.
Right,
It
but
was
at
really
the time
nice,
you're like,
though.
this is really nice.
They have nice plants back here.
That's the best patio furniture I've ever slept on.
Right. And then about the time you're leaving is when you go like, this place is a dump.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of here.
So
They're pushing you out of their yard with a broom. Dude, you got to get the fuck out of here. Monday morning, man. I got to go to work.
we'll be sending information to the people on the Patreon list for the what the heck is going on over there.
That was Jose.
That was me.
Jesus.
Thank you for taking ownership, Jose.
It's almost
about
like
to-
it's almost like we've never recorded a podcast before. We'll be
Extreme ownership.
That's right.
Are we releasing the Shy's asking? Are we talking about what the days are?
I don't. Should we talk at all at this point? It's gone so dark here.
Well, I'm not. I'm just. Or if the dates only released to patrons?
The dates will be released to people in separate emails because it's changed a couple times. I don't even remember if because
Where are we going?
Yeah, it was
The Mojave.
There's trail closures. You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of variables.
Oh, they're
So-
open. They're open. They just put out Mojave put out a update. They're opening up roads now.
Are they?
They're,
Because
they're clearing them out.
because there is several closed roads.
They're under
and-
mud.
Yeah, and trails and what have you. So we've we're going to do the Mojave in a very different path than we've done before. Like if
It'll be
you
a whole new Mojave.
if you've done this with us before, we're going to try to veer away from the traditional straight across the desert route.
So, what I'm hearing, there's no guarantee for your survival, or
Yes.
you're going to make it. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? And there's
I saw the map and it was like, that looks dope, but
there's one area specifically
kinda scary.
that we're gonna have to go pre-run to make sure we can even make it through, which we're going to try to do in the next couple weeks. But April is the time frame. One of the April-ish. We decided not to do it Memorial Day weekend because of weather and. In all honesty,
previous nightmare.
I don't want the 6-hour drive out and the drive back. It's just not worth it.
Being on that weekend. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I forgot about
Take
that.
a day off.
Yeah,
Take a day off.
Didn't you say it took you 9 hours?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it
Shit
took us.
sucked.
It took us 6 hours to get out there. So, anyways,
Yes, it will
I
make
took that day off.
Mojave.
It took me like 3.5 hours.
Perry.
yeah. So those of you that are part of the Trail Chaser support team, you will be getting an email about that soon. Once we finalize the actual dates and figure all that out. But keep an eye out for that sometime in April. And one of the things we want to try to do this year is see some points that we haven't seen in the past. And then Casey made the point that we typically, from our second day or day 2 camp, we typically just shoot right out to the freeway and haven't gone through the Afton Canyon water crossing in a while. So we're going to try to do that this year for those that want to. That is always a fun trip. It is, 3 days, two full days in the desert, and then a half day on the trip home, and 2 nights of camping. Last year we did 3 nights of camping because I camped that Friday night.
Two years ago.
Or
We
2
didn't do
years
it
ago.
last
We
year.
did do it last year. Yeah.
It was fucking hot.
I think this is going to be the most epicer of epics.
There you go, putting expectations out.
Yeah. Why would you say that?
I just feel it. I feel it.
Well, you know what?
Where?
I'm gonna jump on there and say yes. That we have to come back. You can't fear
The Reaper.
Thank you, the Reaper, or the
Or
things
the
that are
naked man
negative.
of the desert.
No, some people look for the negative.
Dude,
Jose's
I'm looking out
excited.
for that guy. Yeah.
But think about that. Like, there's
Jose's
a lot
gonna come
of
up.
there's a lot of lore and
Well, the KLR nuts to butts, you know.
oh, God, dude. Do it,
Here
it,
comes
Jose.
Jose on his motorcycle with a
Yeah.
naked dude on the back.
No, that's incentive enough to buy that bike, Jose. just for
Hey, I'm buying that bike for show content. You know.
for clown
Hey,
content.
Yeah.
We'll
you
just
could
make
do
fun of
like
you.
you could do recon up ahead of us.
Not really.
Not when he's laying on his side.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest with you, when he's not laying on his side, now he'd probably be able to keep up with us because he'd be on a bike instead of the cruiser.
I used to have a bike for a long time. This is gonna be his first bike, and he's gonna like drive it straight to the Mojave.
Yeah, bad idea.
And then
Challenge accepted.
the bike's not making it off the Mojave.
It's gonna get dragged
Except for
off.
in the back of one of our trucks.
exactly. We'll just drag it off the trail, dude. It'll be all right.
Then, and the last piece of good news is after a couple weeks of coordination with Austin, if you go to irate4x4.com/the trail chasers, boom, there we are. We are now on Irate 4x4 in the watch, listen, and discuss section. The Trail Chasers podcast is there. It's available, and we can, once this episode drops, it will get automatically posted onto that thread, and anybody can have ongoing conversations about the specific topic. I'm really excited about this. I think that it is an opportunity to have more direct connection with people that are listening to the show, because we can have some real conversations inside of the forum. So for those of you that haven't already signed up for Irate 4x4, please go do so. We will be working with Austin to put together some private forum stuff, some content, and a bunch of other stuff.
What kind of private forum stuff?
Someone sent me a meme and said there were nudes of Casey, and we're gonna have to follow through.
I saw that. Is that confirmed?
We're gonna have to follow through with that.
You
I
gotta
think.
sign up first.
Yeah, you got to sign up. That's the special tier. That's his all fans tier. But so my point being, there's a lot of good things happening, a lot of opportunities for us to connect with people coming up.
Okay,
I see how excited you are.
Time to shut it down. It's 8:30. We passed 8:30.
It is way past my bedtime. But what else? Anything else, guys, that you, as far as the upcoming events or Irate 4x4, that you want to talk about?
I'm looking forward to the yellow wheeling in a couple of weeks, or that's a week and a half, or when this comes out next weekend, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of
12
fun.
days or something.
Yeah, 18th and 19th, so 11, 12 days. I think it will be a lot of. We have not had the. I mean,
in a vendor rich environment with listeners and whatever. Like, I think that's something that's been missed. And I'm gonna work again. I was talking about working on my footwork, and my mic control, so I can pin people down and get some good interviews.
Yeah.
You never know if you're going to be in the taco or banana line. Apparently, Jose said
The frozen banana line.
Frozen banana line. I can come out. I'm hoping there's like some hedges or something nearby, and I can just jump out at you like, blam! Hey, what do you think about frozen bananas? Like, oh, I like them dipped in chocolate. Oh, it just goes off from there. Good times.
I was gonna ask, what are you gonna ask a person in the frozen banana line?
I got to work on that, dude. Right now.
We have already destroyed this episode. We do not need to go any further down that path.
You know what, Jose? You and I can get together, and we can come up with some really good questions. All right. Thank you, though. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's make sure I don't waste my time.
We do need
with like a cocktail in my hand, trying to talk to people in the frozen banana line. I'll make sure I'm prepared.
I'm now regretting this.
Good. We're back to like our prime. Like we're in there, dude. We're in the good time. We're in the trail chaser good time pocket right now. I like it.
We're doing lots of dumb stuff together.
Exactly. That's just the dumb shit I'm thinking about doing. These two assholes over here are probably gonna do some other crazy shit. It's gonna be a fucking amazing time. Amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I bet Melanie didn't realize she was the last interview on the Trail Chaser podcast. Like this episode, we're shut down. No, I'm super pumped about getting out there and do, because that's one of the most fun things we do is those conversations at events. Did you lose your headphones here?
Yeah, well, I don't know. My headphones are off.
Well, maybe that's a sign we need to stop.
Just tap. Well, it might be.
So, anyways, we will please come out to the YOLO Wheeling event, hang out with us for a while. We'll have some fun there. I'm going to try. It's short notice, but I'm going to try to pull some stuff together for giveaways and what have you, and then we'll go from there. But and then keep an ear out for the Mojave Trail trip coming up in April, and then I'm hoping that we get to start doing a lot more of these community things and put more time into like interaction stuff and trail runs and stuff. So we are working on that. All right. Anything else, guys?
Betty White and Shy, I will have to get to you offline for whatever it is that they're having an issue with the irate.
It's not
login
up yet.
or the page.
It's not up yet.
Oh, is it not up? It's
not up yet.
I'm seeing it. I wonder. Oh, I bet he's just hasn't made it public yet. My bad, guys. I thought it was. I just logged in and saw that it was there. I just.
Yeah, we already got kicked off.
Yeah.
Yay.
I saw it there, and I just assumed that it was already public. So I will find out what.
Okay. Okay. So here a little indication of what's going to happen. Perry G says he's going to make some homebrew jet fuel for the Mojave trip.
Oh my god.
And let's just pinpoint my burial ground or whatever if we could now, just so.
Yeah, bring a shovel because we're going to have to leave some bodies out there.
Oh, no, that's me for sure.
Interesting. Okay, well, everybody that joined tonight, thank you so much. Thank you to Melanie for the interview, and we will see you guys at the YOLO Wheeling event March 18th and 19th at Featherly Park. All right, everybody, have a good night. We'll talk to you next week.
Laters.
See ya.